You know, forgive me, hello, I'm Tim, by the way, you know that. I am so excited about today because we're cooking in Malaysia. And I don't know if I've ever bored you with this, but we lived in Malaysia for a bit, and I have to tell you that whenever they ask you about a desert island and what food you would only be able to eat, you have to say Malaysia. Because Malaysia, not only is it a foodie culture, not only, and I've got some good stories about how foodie it is, but it brings together three cuisines that are amongst my favourite in the world. Okay, so China, Southeast, everywhere in Southeast Asia, in fact everywhere in the world, China is around, but China is definitely a dominant cuisine in Malaysia. And then you've got Tamil, which is southern India, and so who doesn't like bleeding, Indian, you know what I mean? That's the Englishman in me. And then, of course, there's Malaysian food too, all very distinct cuisines, but you've got all of them. And when we lived in Malaysia, we found ourselves just sort of getting panicked that there were so many places to eat and so many amazing things to stuff yourself with, but not enough time. So if you ever get the chance to go to Malaysia, I promise you, you will not be disappointed in the food department. Let's get on with cooking. Today we're going to cook what is called, in Malaysia anyway, an ABC. And I can't remember what it stands for. It's something like Chang. Forgive me, I should have looked it over before we started, but it's ABC is how everybody knows it. And it's a wacky dessert, but it's a divine dessert, but it's like, if you're a Westerner, it's like nothing you've ever come across before, because as so often in Southeast Asia, I'm talking too much, aren't I? And I need some excitement. Maybe I could do a silly dance just for a bit, spark things up. I'm getting bored of the sound of my own voice, so it's not good for you. But the ABC is a bizarre combination of ingredients that in the Western world are often considered not sweet, but it works beautifully. And I do want to just quickly draw attention to one of my favourite students of all time, who's Malaysian and who very sweetly encouraged me to do this dish. Shen Chen, what's up? I think that's what they call a call out. Okay, so ABC, it's very easy. The only real bit of cooking in this is going to be making the syrup, which involves brown sugar and water. Then, once you have created the syrup, you're going to crunch up a crap load of ice, because in Malaysia it's stinkingly hot, very close to the equator, so everybody needs to be cooled down all year round. So we'll crunch up some ice in a minute, and then onto the ice you are going to put red beans. You can get these canned in the US, and at a pinch you can use a small kidney bean, but it's always best to use the original. So I got these down the road. Those are red beans. Then and I know that's a bit wacky, also sweet corn. Not usually your favourite after meal wrapper-upper, but in Malaysia, oh yeah! Then we have what looks like sort of tadpoles or frog spawn, or I don't know what, but this is palm seeds, and they are part of the dish. And then this is my favourite, and I can't believe I got it in Albuquerque. I bet you $1 million you can't guess what this is. This is, oh, I nearly splashed it all over the counter. This is jellified grass. Now, I don't know if that's jellified lawn trimmings, or if that is jellified ganja, if you know what I mean. But the can, which is here, says grass jelly, or if you're French, gelée de l'herbe. C'est ça, c'est incroyable. So those are our ingredients, and let's do our only bit of cooking. Let's see if I can get the stove going. Look at my sweet little, is that really a pan, or is that like an egg cup? I don't know, but anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can get it going. So I'm just going to make the syrup. It'll take 2 seconds. That is a third of a cup of water, and that is plop, a quarter of a cup of brown sugar, and we will splosh that around. And whilst that is going, I am going to get the rice ready. This is going to be super quick, honestly, truly. You can knock this together in the blink of an eye, and I know this is one that you're going to want to make for all your friends. No, truly, I was being silly. It's lovely. It really is lovely. Anyway, what am I doing? So when you're on the street, they have these bizarre, I mean, it's crazy, they have big blocks of ice with a handle on the top, and they turn it around and it slithers the ice to make much more even ice than this. And then on top of the ice you put all the bits and bobs. So my syrup is fine, I think that'll work. I'm just going to put it in the freezer to make it chilly. We're making a nice foundation of crushed ice, and everything will go on top of that. Again, remember that the temperature in Malaysia is consistently about 110, in stinkingly humid. There's me red beans, and maybe I'll put that one over there. We'll work on one. And then your favourite and my favourite dessert choice, corn, sweet corn, straight out of a can, nothing special there. Then we are going to put, I'm not quite sure how to deal with these things. I don't remember them either, these palm pits. But that goes over there. Again, another couple of tablespoons. And then the gelée d'herbe. Traditionally, in the syrup, you put just a couple of drops of red food colouring. Do you know, I make too much red velvet, what do they call it, red velvet cake, and so I never have red food colouring. I've got green. I thought about making it green or yellow. Ooh, that's a bit disgusting. And I could have made blue, but I, in the end, decided just to go au naturel. The recipe did say it's optional. So we've got that. Now what we need is a little bit, this is condensed milk, sweetened condensed. I always get evaporated and condensed slightly muddled up. I'm going to put a little bit of that. You can actually do either condensed or evaporated milk, but it does need to be sweetened. Helps our little red beans not be quite so savoury. So there's that, and then hopefully my tiny pan, oh, it does feel cold. So I'm going to put a little splosh of that on top, very gently. As I say, this can be red if you want it to be. Mine is sort of brown, which is yeah, brown. So there it is, ABC from Malaysia. I really, truly, I'm dying to try this because, you know, it's that thing where smell and taste transcends time. We were in Malaysia in 2002, I think, 2002 to just the beginning of 2003. We loved it there, we really loved it there, and we often talk about having an ABC. So, the idea is really to make sure you get the ice, because that, when you're in Malaysia, is what helps keep you cool. it belies belief, because it is not, again, something that we in the West recognise as a dessert, but it is flipping great. It's so many different textures, so many different types of sweetness, and again the slight sort of mental this contradiction of having things that we in the West think of as being savoury. ABC, if you've not done it, you've got to do it. It's what we call a bucket list thing. So I'm going to have a little bit more, half a tick. That's a rather large piece of ice. I would say that with the jellied grass, it doesn't have a heap of amount of taste, but it does have that gorgeous texture that it is, well, it's like, funnily enough, like jelly. Anyway, short but sweet today, my dear sweet naughties. ABC from Malaysia. When I see you next, what are we going to do? Oh, we're off to the Maldives, which is those gorgeous islands in the Indian Ocean. I'm not quite sure what we're going to cook yet, but I'm sure it'll be something divine and tasty. And look, as always, thanks so much for bearing with me and putting up with my silliness, and we'll see you next time. Take care.